What is with all of these drones flying over the eastern United States? Hey, not a big mystery to me. I'll tell you exactly what they are. Hello everyone, Dr. Chris Martinson of Peak Prosperity here. Let's take a look at this very quickly. Drones over Jersey. That's been the thing that's been talked about for the past week. A lot of you have asked me to weigh in on this, so I will. Let's start here. This was on December 12th, so this is 4 days ago from the time of this recording, but just to give you a sense of, bring us all back to the confusion. I'm sure you've been tracking it, but in case you haven't, this is what was known, and you can just hear the actual legitimate confusion in the reporter here.
We've been looking for the past hour. I think we've seen about 40 or 50 of these drones. In fact, there's one over my shoulder right there. One after another, these drones appeared in the night sky. If you look real close, they look like fixed-wing aircraft, about 8 to 10 feet wide, colorful, white blinking lights.
That is not a plane.
Definitely not an airplane, but what was it? Hours earlier, I was invited to join the Ocean County Sheriff Department. They launched their own drones to see if they could intercept the mysterious aircraft New Jersey residents have been reporting in recent weeks. The department says these mystery drones evade detection because they don't give off heat like regular drones. Why?
Okay, regular drones don't necessarily give off heat, okay? Not if they're flying with batteries. Very minor heat signatures. But what we can tell you is that obviously these things aren't designed to evade detection. They are fixed wing. Some of them are making obvious drone noises. I think sometimes we've seen people mistaking airplanes or jets for these things, but there are drones, big things, and they're lit up like Christmas trees. So first thing we can tell you is they are not designed to evade detection. They are designed to be seen. Okay. If you looked at some of these videos, they're just like red lights, blue lights, green lights. They are blinking and off they go. Now, the feds insist, just recently, the feds insist the drones aren't dangerous, but they can't say who's flying them. Reminds me of that other famous Fed statement you've probably heard. We don't know what's causing heart attacks in young people, but it's not that one thing. Yeah, that's how you know that you're being BS. Now, in Warzone, this has gone even further. I'd like to say, what? Drone incursions closed Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. That's Ohio. So this is now no longer a New Jersey thing, okay? And from that article there in the Warzone, they say here that the sprawling Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio is the latest military installation, the latest one to report mysterious drones flying over its airspace. I can confirm small aerial systems were spotted over Wright-Patterson between Friday night and Saturday morning, base spokesman Bob Perdiman told the Warzone. Okay, so look, let's be very clear about something. There's no such thing as civilians or enemies flying small aerial systems over Air Force bases. Those things will get shot down. They'll be taken down in one way or the other. Remember, you know, when was that Payne Stewart, the golfer? Maybe you don't, but his jet lost, sadly, all of its compression, lost all its oxygen. People all passed out. They scrambled, F-16s, and they were a long pair of them flying alongside his dead airplane until they watched it run out of fuel and dive into the earth. Right. The drones, they say here, ranged in sizes and configurations. So this isn't like some kid hobby flew a drone like over the Air Force Base. By the way, if you do that, you probably aren't going to be able to get it to do that in the first place because almost all drones come with fly maps in them, or rather, I should more accurately say, do not fly maps in them. They have places you can't go. Air Force bases would be one of those places. So the fact even that they're flying over Air Force bases tells me it's a government operation to begin with. Full stop. Very easily done. And now we just find out on December 15th, all of a sudden, it's New York Senator Chuck Schumer professes he's ignorant. He doesn't know. He's calling for the federal government to deploy recently declassified radar technology to finally identify the mysterious swarms of drones. Yeah, look at the psyop going on here. Look, even a New York senator is like, maybe we should use some recently declassified radar tech. Like, there's no such thing is giant 8-foot fixed wing droney things flying around over Air Force bases, over the highly, highly, highly contested, super secure East Coast airspace that we don't know about, or worse, that we aren't operating at the federal government level. Full stop. So this tells you that there's some sort of a psyop operating. And again, there's a little still from the video. That thing's lit up like a Christmas tree. It's designed to be seen. So what is this actually about? Well, two possibilities. First, the government knows what the drones are, but it's the government is powerless to do anything about them and doesn't want to panic the public. So they are lying about them, okay? And number two, the government is operating the drones and is lying about them. One way or the other, we know the government is lying here. So let's cut through the possibilities. One possibility is that the drones are out looking for some sort of nuclear material, maybe a dirty bomb. Here's Zero Hedge is reporting that New Jersey reported a radioactive medical device was lost in transit. The shipping container was damaged and empty. There's a little device. It's a little thing used in a medical instrument of some kind. Is this actually what's going on here? No, and I'll tell you the exact logic why we're not looking for a radiological device right now. But Aunt Kitty here on Twitter picked up this whole idea, and you can see she's got a little fragment there of a real-time radiation world map. They're normally, they have that thing coded so that anywhere from 0 to 50 counts per minute is green, and 50 to 100 counts is a little yellow, but anything over 200 counts per minute is red. And so she interpreted that as saying, okay, here's the thought. Radiation levels in New York City, quote, are rising. Could this be a reason so many people are getting sick? There are hospitals diverting patients for a rapidly spreading stomach virus. Acute radiation sickness syndrome or sickness is a serious illness. It can happen. Blah, 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 blah. Goes on through the symptoms. No, Kitty, you will not get radiation sickness from 1,000 counts per minute, 200 counts per minute, even 1,000,000 counts per minute. You're not going to get radiation sickness from that. Radiation sickness is measured in trillions of counts. It's a huge number. So no, this is not it. This is not real. But I just want to make sure people. I have not seen any dangerous radiation levels. They have not been detected anywhere whatsoever in anything that I've seen so far. Are you tired of feeling run down, maybe low energy? You know you've got some pounds you'd like to lose. Maybe you've got brain fog or something like that. Listen, we think we have the answer to all of that, and it begins with your food. If you're like me, you were shocked to hear testimony recently that unraveled and unearthed and exposed the idea that our food has been made addictive by addiction specialist scientists, the tobacco scientists out there putting things in our food. Maybe it also shocked you to discover that Europe does not allow all kinds of stuff in our food because they know it's toxic. What is the combined effect of all of this? Listen, we know what the data is. It's horrifying. The number of children showing up with type 2 diabetes, the total metabolic disasters unfolding across the land, marked by obesity, sure, but we have cardiovascular issues, concomitant rises in cancers, all of these things, and it all starts with food. Garbage in, garbage out. So what do we do about that? First, it begins with understanding the context. We've put together a very exciting, comprehensive food webinar that will expose the regulatory side of this and what is being done and why and how this happened to us. We'll be talking with Thomas Massey about that. We've got Dr. Ken Berry talking with us on the practitioner side and the solution side. We've got Tracy Thurman talking to us about the war on farmers and the war on food that has been happening. And Robert Barnes to help us to understand that as well. Many other guests to both define what the problem is and what we can do about it. And we want to make it as simple as possible. Here's an example. Tortillas. Hey, maybe you're even on keto and these are carb-wise. So these have low amounts of carbs. See that? Carb-wise. Yeah, these are carb-wise, so keto-friendly. I want to note something. You see how fresh these look? Yeah, you see any mold in there? Any bacteria, any yeast, any sign of anything, any organism in there? These things expired in June and it is now November. So, what are they putting in our food that even black mold won't eat it? I don't know, but I've decided that if it's not good enough for black mold, It's no longer good enough for me. Once you start down that path, you realize that we have got sugar and preservatives and salt and seed oils, all of the chemicals that are unnecessary, and the fact that the food pyramid is absolutely wrong. So if you like effective information that leads to effective action, this webinar is for you. It's going to be the usual thing that my team and I will put on. It'll be organized, digestible, easily understandable, and most importantly, it's going to be actionable in ways that you will understand what to do. And I've designed it so that you would easily be able to send this to anybody that you love or care about, say, can we talk about this, and have it as a starting point for conversation. But what we really want, we want you to be healthy. Because, well, who doesn't want to be healthy? Health is the number one form of personal capital you can have, of course. But given everything that's going on in the world, being healthy and vigorous and active are going to be dominant strategies and things you're really going to want to be carrying in. So, folks, it's time to get prepared on all levels. It begins here. It starts at home. It begins with our eating. And let's just make sure that we're not eating stuff that even black mold won't touch. With that, thank you very much for listening, and we'll get back to our regular programming now. Now, back at Peak Prosperity, if you are not part of the Peak Prosperity tribe, you are hereby invited. We have the most amazing talent back there. So if you want to hang out with really cool people who have extraordinary experience and are able to parse the world and make sense of it, then you really ought to become a Peak Prosperity member. Pnw Defector is turning into a good friend, and he has been a tribe member there at Peak Prosperity for a number of years. He wrote here in response to this whole droney thing. He said, if there was a nuclear weapon threat or a dirty bomb threat, they'd undoubtedly deploy nuke-sniffing aircraft over the region, as drones aren't going to be able to cover nearly enough ground unless they have specific intelligence to dispatch the drones. Problem being, those aircraft, those nuclear detection aircraft, are all parked thousands of miles away and haven't been anywhere near New Jersey, less the N2415 helo belonging to the Department of Energy's NNSA, who scanned D.C. yesterday, but probably in advance of the inauguration. If they located such a weapon, they'd then deploy the 21st WMD EOD to dispose of the weapon. And he has fam who served with the 21st. Now, also, you don't just look for dirty bombs or nukes at nighttime. That's when all these drones have been out, specifically because they got their blinky, flashy lights, and that's when people are going to see them. If they were worried about a nuke, they'd be flying them 24/7, and we would have the most amazing photos. You know, there's some people out there in New Jersey. We've got their A2 with their 600 millimeter lens, and they're just dying to take a clear photo, and they would, and we'd see them, and we'd have this all diagnosed. These things are flying at night with bright, flashy lights to be seen. That's the point. Carrying on, PNW thinks in yellow, quote, I think we're seeing an unhealthy mix now of government drones and those belonging to private citizens maybe getting in on the fun for TikTok cool points. There might even be a bunch of private sector companies flying there now at the behest of the government for several possible reasons. Pure speculation, but it wouldn't surprise me if the government initiated this drone craze over New Jersey to encourage people to fly their private drones, to give government drone makers aerial targets to track in some sort of sick little field test, end quote. Could be. It could very well be something like that. Now, where you're seeing all the rest of the government's like, I don't know, what could it be? We don't know. We don't know. This is what an actual press conference would sound like.
First of all, good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey and the ports? And it seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Look,
Thank you.
Our military knows where they took off from. Mm-hmm. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went.
Correct.
And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people. And they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster. Want to know.
All right. He just goes on to make a joke there. So, of course they know. Of course they know. You know they know. I know they know. They know. We know they know. But still they come out and they're lying like crazy. Like this guy, Mayorcas, who we should point out was incapable. He's just, if these drones are undocumented aliens flying things in our space, he's not going to be the guy to be able to stop them because he couldn't even stop undocumented incursions across a physical border, let alone an airspace. This guy is as useless as tits on a bull. But let's listen in anyway.
I want to assure the American public that we are on it. We are working in close coordination with state and local authorities. And it is critical, as we all have said for a number of years, that we need from Congress additional authorities to address the drone situation. Our authorities currently are limited, and they are set to expire. We need them extended and expanded.
There it is.
What exactly do you need?
There it is. There it is. Oh, we have all these mysterious drones, but I just want to reassure everybody they're not dangerous. We don't know what they are. But I would like to remind everybody, says Mayorcas, that we're going to need expanded powers and funding from Congress. This is a psyop, folks, and it's just designed to get one last little thing from the government on their way out the door. That's what this is. 99% sure that's what this is. This is a marketing operation for expanded budgets for a pet program. And of course, Mayorcas, he is unable to tell the truth. He's as unable as he was to stop migrants from coming over the border. He is equally unable to tell the truth. He wouldn't know how to approach things from a truthful manner anyway. Instead of coming forward and persuading Congress and the American people that it might be a good idea to have expanded drone rules and other things like that, instead of just coming out and making the case, this is the kind of guy who would run some sort of a thing where you just launch bunches of drones and create a lot of hysteria and confusion and all of that. And in the midst of that crisis sort of mindset, you come in and you then demand that to keep Americans safe, we're going to need this stuff. It's gross. It's gross. Mayorkas is one of the grossest people in politics. By the way, it's part of a larger psy war. I just sat down with Robert Malone for almost 2 hours. He's the author of the most recent book, co-author with Jill, his wife, Psy War, Enforcing the New World Order. Going to be a really good interview. So look for that. I'm just pre-selling that a little. Watch for that to come out soon in some incredible insights. But we have to see what we're seeing right now in the context of the ongoing Psy War that has been played out against us for many, many years. But it is in a fever pitch now in this interregnum between the old administration and the new administration. Consider all the things this administration has attempted to do since the election on November 5th. They've tried to start World War III. They overthrew Syria and caused huge mayhem in the Middle East. They have dialed up all kinds of attacks all around militarily all over the region, said nothing about the complete democratic overthrow of Romania, color revolution in Georgia. This, that, the other thing, I can't wait for this to be done. I'm done with these psy wars. I'm tired. I hope you're tired too. It's just gross. So let's listen in. Here's another take on this scam that we are now unraveling.
President-elect Donald Trump, he just called on the Biden administration for you guys to either release any information it has about these mysterious drone sightings or shoot the drones out of the sky. How do you respond to the president-elect?
Well, first of all, the statements I've made already are the principal message that I want to communicate to the American public. We haven't seen anything unusual. We know of no threat. Secondly, we have gone to Congress.
Okay, we haven't seen anything unusual. Well, everybody else has. So pretty sure you know exactly what we're talking about. Well, we haven't seen anything unusual, but there's no threat. Lying liar. A bald lying liar. That's Mayorkas.
Repeatedly asking for more authority to counter drone activity. And we have also asked for more authority to give to the state and local officials under our supervision, because he correctly notes those authorities need to be expanded.
All right. So the larger story here is, look, we the neocons, of which he is part of a card-carrying member of that crowd, we initiated this whole war in Ukraine. We thought it was going to really weaken Russia. In fact, it turned out that drones emerged as this new battlefield frontier. Bad news, we didn't see that coming. Worse news, we gave away all of the advantage in that to Russia and also to China. In fact, almost all of our drones we buy them from China. So we're actually behind on that technology. So what we'd really like to do is not be importing any of this stuff from China anymore. So we're going to have to cut that off. So how could we shut down imports from China? Well, we could just admit that we were idiots and got behind the 8 ball and we're going to catch up, or we could, I know, let's implicate China and DJI specifically in this whole thing so that we can then block imports of that stuff. So our industry will have a chance to catch up and we can begin to learn some of the obvious new future that drones represent to the battlescape. I think that's the thing here. Conclusions. The outgoing administration, they're attempting to heave a bunch of things over the wall on their way out of the door. And this lame-ass drone psyop is being run by the government, almost certainly to lobby by other means for more money and power. That's what I think about drones so far. I'm going to carry on for my subscribers back at Peak Prosperity. We got to talk about the playbook that's going to be run between here and January 20th and probably after, because it is the playbook. And we got to talk about how we can help the movement, because there is a huge, exciting movement going on in this country right now, and the world is kind of depending on us, but we're also depending on us. So come on back by Peak Prosperity to talk about the movement and how to participate in it, because there's some exciting stuff going on. With that, see you next time, everybody, and don't worry about the drones. It's just a psyop for money.